Welcome, everyone. This is Ted Schmidt with Action Coach Northwest again with one of our Business Spotlight podcasts. And today, our guest is Lucy Bassli. She's the founder and principal of InnoLaw Group. So welcome, Lucy.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Can't wait to hear what you have to say about being a business owner. So here we go. We're going to
Okay.
jump right into the questions and get rolling here.
Okay.
So question number one, if you had to start from square one in business, what would you do differently?
I would have a clearer plan. I would have a clearer vision for the business. A lot of us are good technicians and things that we are good at doing. Building a business around those skills is a different beast. And I don't know if I set out intentionally to build a business, but found myself building one. So I
Yeah,
think I would have planned a little bit more for sure.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I've run into that a lot over the years with different business owners, and how you get started. I kind of get out of the gate and it's like, what am I doing?
Well, that's right. I mean,
Yeah,
running a business is a completely separate set of skills than doing the thing that you're
yeah, doing the thing.
selling, especially the services business where you're like, hey, I'm really good at doing that thing. I'm going to go sell my skills of doing that thing to other people. And then a business is born. And I
Yeah,
think that was the sequence of how I
yeah,
discovered, oh, wait, I'm running a business now.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yikes. Yeah, but probably
Yeah,
would have
I mean,
planned.
you're good at something and all of a sudden you got a business, right? So,
Yep.
okay. Second question, what have your biggest learnings been as an employer since you begun in business?
Think it's probably not a new learning. It's a validation. It's those lessons you learn over and over and over again. It feels like and continue to. It's all about the people. As an employer, I continue to remind myself, and people keep reminding me that it is all about the business, about the people. I'm so sorry. It's all about the people, regardless of what you are selling, building, doing widgets. It doesn't matter. The composition of the human beings that are part of your small business can completely make or break not just the business, but the day-to-day experience. Um,
Yeah.
Absolutely biggest learning over and over again. I feel like I knew that when I was an employee at Microsoft for many years, and you already get to learn about people for sure in a big corporate setting. But boy, when it is your name and your brand on a business, suddenly the nature of people, the way they communicate, the way they engage, everything is hyper focused. And so that's by far my biggest learning.
Do you have an example of something that you can
Oh,
think of?
a million of them. I'm living one right now. Every
Okay.
day there's one. Just finished. I'm having my morning coffee. Chatting. The husband comes by and I'm like, oh, you're never gonna believe what I had to deal with yesterday. I mean, it feels like it's every day. Work is hard enough, but it's interesting and it's complex, and I love my work. Managing the people aspect is trouble. I mean, right now, the latest example, literally hot off the press, is coming at you real time. Is when you start getting a sense that somebody's not really performing, but we're all remote, obviously, in these days, that's common now. So it's extra hard to kind of monitor and track that. But you start getting a sense, and after being in business long enough, and certainly just being a professional long enough, your sense is usually pretty good. Little things. It's like gaps of time on the calendar, being away from your, online. We use Teams. I don't care what you use online,
Right.
Slack, whatever you're using online to interact with your team, you know, constantly being on an away status. Where are you away?
Yeah.
In
Okay.
the midst of a hot project. So there are enough indicators. And then you have to figure out, well, what do I do with that? Do I coach and evolve and manage and improve? When you're a
Right.
small business, you often don't have the luxury of that. Like
Well, yeah, accountability is a big piece of it. And
kills me every
yeah,
time. And when we
yeah,
set a high bar, and when people aren't meeting that high bar, it becomes pretty obvious pretty quickly. And it's like, oh God, what do we do now? Ah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I heard a quote the other day, um, said high achievers don't like underachievers and underachievers don't like high achievers. And I
It
thought that
makes
was pretty
so
interesting.
much sense. It does. It makes so much
Yeah,
sense. And you try to kind of
yeah,
really dig in underneath, boy, people don't like it, and then they take
Yeah,
it personally, and you're like, no, no, we're running a business here. Here's the bar, here are the expectations. If you're failing to meet them, they don't like that.
yeah.
So,
So set the bar. Okay,
yep.
awesome. All right. Next question. What are some common misconceptions about running a business and how do you address them?
I'm actually going to do a good, I think like a positive misconception in some ways, or it's good that it's a misconception. I guess that's one way of thinking about it. You know, that it's an all-consuming, nonstop grind. I think all-consuming in your head maybe is one thing, but that's different than oh my God, I'm working harder than I've ever, I've put in more hours than I've put before. I think if you're good at running your business and you figure out how to actually turn it into a well-functioning operating business, then it shouldn't be that way, and it doesn't have to be that way. So it's almost this misconception that falls on two ends of the extreme. One, it's a nonstop grind and you're working like crazy, and the other is, oh, you're
Mhm.
off sailing on the business is running itself. People forget the happy middle, and I think that's where most business owners live, is in the middle. We're still hands-on, we're still putting in a lot of time, but we do have the option to have the balance and to make the choices that we didn't have. So that's the
Yeah.
misconception. I think it's one or other extreme, but it's not. I'm definitely not on a sailboat all day, but I'm also not working 24/7.
Oh, really?
It's not that kind of grind, so
Yeah.
I think that's the misconception, that middle, that's where most of us, I
Mm,
think.
yeah. Well, it's a matter of I think once you can create the leverage in the systems and things, you don't have to be there overseeing every little thing. So
Correct.
yeah, I
And
get
that's the
it.
part of running the business. That
Yeah.
is the secret sauce of running the business.
The secret sauce. Okay. So what do you attribute your growth to?
Obviously network, and I'm going to use this word that I have a love-hate relationship with, but brand, my personal brand, which took me years to just accept the fact that I accidentally developed one. Um,
Okay.
that that brand that stands for, I think, quality and substance and no BS, and you get the real deal whether you like it or not. I think that attributes to our growth is all word of mouth. It's all I mean, with the exception of doing some webinars or some substantive content delivery, which is what I live and breathe for. It's content, it's substance. I think that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
And it just kind of feeds itself. I think that's it. I always tell the team, like, we're going to win on substance and quality only. That is how the business will grow. That is how we will expand. Everything about us will be substance and quality. We don't do shenanigans and marketing tricks. We don't, there's none of that at all. It's really
Yeah.
be excellent at our craft. So we just kind of stand by that, which means sometimes, things slow down. So it's more organic than it would be if we were in the machine of selling the service, and we're not a selling machine. So
Yeah.
I attribute the growth to authentic value delivery, and the word spreads.
Yeah. Organic growth is a lot of the way a lot of businesses do it. I mean, they do. Yeah. So, okay. How do you balance your personal life with the demands of running a business?
Yeah, we touched on that a little bit in the
Yeah, we
misconception.
did touch on that.
Um, I balance it. Let's see, it's a good question. I feel like I had way less work-life balance when I was a big corporate employee. Um, that was also different. That was also pre-COVID, when everybody was in the office 10 hours a day, and that was standard and normal. And obviously in the Seattle area, the high-tech way of working is an intense way of working. Running my own business, the way I balance it is I really just make choices that I have to be good with, and that means letting go of some things and maybe opting out of some opportunities that could yield business and growth, but instead it's more important for me to to spend time with the family. I say that on the one hand. I will tell you, if you interview my family, they will say she always has her laptop. So I think I've perfected the craft of work-life integration. I don't know if the word is balance as much as it's integration, because I love what
Yeah.
I do. And I keep trying to explain this to my kids and my husband. I'm like, guys, it's not work for me. And they're like, oh, you're on your laptop again. And they're empathetic. And I'm like, yeah, but we're just hanging around. And I don't sew. I don't garden. This is my hobby. I love it. So I'm okay with it. So I think it's a bit of a, I think my first answer was a bit more of a kind of, I don't know, the answer people expect to hear. Well, I make tough choices, and I do, but more often than not, I just integrate in a way that it doesn't feel like work.
Mm,
And maybe I'm lucky. I mean, that's really the more honest answer. Is
yeah.
I do feel like I'm in one way always working. I'm always thinking. I'm always just strategizing. What next? Why that? What do we do this? Why, So if that's considered working, then I do work a lot. But I don't know. Integration's been key, and it's a very natural, smooth integration. So I don't resent it. I don't. I like it.
Yeah. Well, that's all about choices. It really
Yep,
is. What do you choose to spend your time on? That's your most valuable asset. How do you utilize it? So
that's
that's
right.
interesting. So,
Yep.
okay. Boy, we're sailing along here. Only 3 questions left, believe it or not. Okay. What qualities do you look for in employees, and how do you foster a positive and productive work environment?
This one we could spend hours on.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm going to put as table stakes experience that you can read on a resume. It's table stakes that you've done certain things for a certain amount of time, right? That's kind of the easier part. Those are good words on the resume. You can't lie about them. You were at this place and you did have this function and you supposedly accomplished these goals. Fine, we'll set that aside. That's table stakes. I look for things, and this is harder to find. I need work ethic. I want good, solid work ethic. My team used to always say, "My God, you're like a boomer in a Gen X body with aspirations of living like a millennial." I'm like, yeah, it's a weird combo. Um,
Yeah.
but really good, strong work ethic. A curiosity to learn, to evolve, to develop. That's super important. A willingness to do whatever it takes. Kind of, you're not above anything. You just do it, what you need, what it takes. And then proactive ownership. I need drivers. I need people who are going to see a problem and jump at tackling it, not wait and hope somebody tells them what to do. And I get that all the time. Full functioning adults that look at me like, oh, I didn't know you wanted me to. Why do I need to tell you what I want you to? You're a professional with this alleged skill set that you put on your resume. Why do I have to tell you what to do? I just shouldn't, so I see a lot of people hiding kind of behind that. I just
Mm,
find that there's a very small minority of people out there, professionals, who know how to drive and seize the opportunity and preempt and predict and proactively solve. And instead,
yeah.
people are happy to kind of sit back and be directed for the most part, which is a small business. We don't have that luxury. We don't have middle managers. We don't have layers of checkers and, and managing up and managing down, all of that. So I need the work ethic. I need people who are going to drive solutions, drive projects. That's hard to identify. And the reality is you only can learn that through trial and error. You will
Yeah.
not figure that
Interesting.
out in an interview. And that's, I think, a lesson every business owner learns, and you have to learn. Interviewing for hiring, good luck. It is can I say crapshoot? It is a total crapshoot, because you never know what you're actually going to get. You could be surprised in the positive, which happens rarely, but does happen. More often than not, you're going to be surprised to the negative. Like, really, their resume was there, and they presented themselves so well, and they were a referral from somebody I trust, and yet they get there and nothing. So that is by far the hardest thing to hire for. But we really we hire for the smell test. I'll do the first pass. I'll get my trusted team members on it, going, okay, go talk to that person. What's your sense? So that's what we want. I always say I could teach anybody my craft. I'm not that. I don't like people to think they're that special. Like I will teach anybody who's smart and capable and interested and willing to do the work. just be smart and interested and do the work. I'll always take those people over the on
Yeah.
paper, brilliant, pedigree, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't mean much.
Okay. Self-directed. They got to have drive. They
Yep.
got to, yeah.
Please,
I
please.
love that.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. Hiring is not an exact science, in case anybody's wondering out there.
No part of it is, none of it is an exact science. The exact
No.
science of it is all going to be automated anyway, and resumes are built by
Yeah.
ChatGPT, and fluffy words are used thanks to ChatGPT, all of that. I used to, it does not matter. It needs to be either very personal referrals from other people that you would want on your team, but aren't available and they refer somebody,
Yeah.
that's a very healthy way to hire, which is why it all comes back to network. And we kind of are told that as kids, who matters. And I never understood that. I'm like, what do you mean? You got to work
Well,
hard, but who
it's
matters.
it's like finding customers or referring customers to you. It's the same thing.
Same thing. That's
Same
right.
thing. Okay, second to last question. Here we go. What question should I be asking you that I haven't?
Oh, that was the one that, yes, I thought about. I did it. That was the only one that I thought, how would I possibly answer that, since I love to shoot from the hip? What I will tell you, what you should ask me is, which part of running a business do you really hate, and how do you handle that?
Ooh, can't wait to hear this.
God, what have I done to myself? Why did I give you such a good question? I hate the finances, the financial aspect, specifically tax, corporate, business structure, local taxation, state taxation. I'm in a professional service that's across the country, which means I have other states that I don't ever touch, but they like to tax me. Um, just that, keeping up with it. So operationally, that's a pain. So how I solve that is I have really good people that I finally found to do that. That takes time too. You have to trust them, and they screw things up and they put in the wrong numbers, and then you get a penalty, and it's this cycle of angst. So that by far is my Achilles heel. I don't like it. The way to do it is you find the right people, but it takes time. Just like we talked about hiring, you need a good referral, good professionals that you can trust. That part of it is and it's like an instant anxiety for me too. So it's not only do I not
Yeah.
like it just because it's not my skill set, I don't want to calculate in spreadsheets things, even though I'm comfortable reading them. I don't like to do them and all that, but the anxiety of, oh no, it's a government entity that has sent me a letter. Oh God, there's a penalty. Oh my God, even if it isn't huge, it's just that I'm a rule follower, and so for me, this is a scary place to be. So that's it. That's
Hmm.
the thing I hate the most. And by the way, small business owners, you're all gonna have to deal with it.
Oh,
You're
it's
all
yeah,
gonna have to deal with it, and it's just
yeah.
something you don't.
So do you find that you kind of you have to really be careful about not totally abdicating it because you still have to monitor what's happening.
That's right. This is one of those where you're outsourced to sleep well at night, but you better know what's going on. I will
Yeah.
say I'm super fortunate in my kind of my right hand head of operations. I pretty much have abdicated to her, except where it connects to my personal finances, which is a small
Okay.
business owner. That's another layer of anxiety. So now not only does the business stuff have to be done clean and smooth and accurate, now it affects my personal life. So I'm translating between my business and my husband, and that I can't abdicate, unfortunately. But I think from a business perspective, you should be able to. I mean, businesses who eventually hire a CFO, somebody is,
Yeah.
it's their job to run it. As a small business, you're probably more spot on in that you can't just abdicate
Yeah.
unless you're
Yeah.
super lucky and found a gem
Well,
you trust.
when when you're not the expert, you hire an expert. That's
That's
basically what it is. So,
and that is there's a macro lesson in all of this. I mean, marketing, I'm not an expert, and you kind of think anybody can do it, but you can't. And I say that with respect to marketing professionals, because I've learned
yeah.
that. Same thing with sales. And
Yeah.
we haven't hired for sales. We have a very little bit of a marketing support from somebody. But we're getting to a point where like, wow, should I just get somebody whose job is to sell? Because that's pretty much my job now. I'm good at it organically, but my goodness, somebody who knows how to turn it into a science is probably way better.
Yeah.
So anyway, yes, to your point, you got to hire what you don't know how to do. And for me, in the finance and tax, that's where that isn't just, oh, we may not grow, I may not make as much revenue. You know, that's more like, oh God, I could end up in an orange jumpsuit. Let me make it.
Yeah.
Orange is not my color. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, I love it. Okay, last question. Here we go. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And any words of advice for other business owners who are looking to grow their business?
remember that sailboat I was talking to you about earlier?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
In 5 years. So I will say honestly, in 5 years, I see myself with a much less active role in the business. I see the business either acquired and I'm playing a small role in a new entity that is kind of on my terms, not kind of, but that's on my terms. So I'm not just reporting to some boss. I've done with that. That's not interesting. So much more flexibility, much less direct involvement in the business is what I see 5 years from now. I also see the business being bigger 5 years from now, for sure. That my advice would be to invest in the people, and to try to work yourself out of your particular role. So you're investing in the kind of people who can step in and do almost every part of the thing that you do. And that's where I'm very close to having now, where besides the actual business development and driving in the clients, at that point, once I have that connection made, pretty much I can hand it off to my two right hands, let's call it. That's where I want to get. So 5 years from now, I should be able to be pretty much not needed, with the exception of a few key business development calls, maybe doing some high level events and marketing activities where I'm kind of the speaker, the presenter, but really increasing brand recognition of the business so that in 5 years, people know InnoLaw Group as much as they know my name today in my network. I think that should be the
Yeah.
goal for any small business owner.
So for the most part, it runs without you.
That is the goal. It should run without me.
Yes. Excellent. Awesome. Well, I want to thank Lucy Bassli, InnoLaw Group, the founder and principal, for being our guest today on the Business Spotlight podcast. Had some great insights and some very unique answers we have not heard before. So that's really good. I like that.
Oh, I have to
Yeah.
know which one stood out. We'll talk about that after. This is great.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
You are welcome. And thanks for being our guest. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.